family, how you guys doing? Welcome to Phie.Love Intuitive Conversations. I hope you guys are good. Yeah. If you like my content, please do like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, if there's any negativity, there's any hate, please do keep that on your side of the street, okay? Won't be acknowledged. So, family, in this video, I'm being guided by Spirit to talk about us not underestimating and putting more value into the new beginnings that come with small changes, the new beginnings that come with subtle adjustments. Okay, I know that when we're faced with having to make a big change or make a big adjustment in our lives, whether it's for somebody else or a circumstance or situation on the outside, or as a, as a new show of commitment to ourselves, sometimes it can be discouraging when you think about maybe the amount of personal investment and effort that you need to put in to achieve what you imagine would be the outcome of an adjustment or a change, or what you imagine a goal to be, right? Or something you achieve. What's also discouraging is when you think about how much effort you might have to put in when you start, weighing in your mind, going back and forth about how it might look as well to the outside. How will it be acknowledged? How will it be measured? How will the outside value the effort I've put in? How will the outside value the change I've made? How will the outside value what my effort and the outcome of my changes might present themselves to be as on the outside, right? We have a tendency to think about how we're going to fill the perception of the role we think the outside world has assumed for whatever it is we want to, align ourselves into or move our experience into. We don't really, we don't consider the adjustments on the inside that we have to make that allow for us to align into the embodiment. We don't value enough what we think more about what the show is going to the show that that we're trying to create for the outside to see, instead of actually caring about what the adjustments we make will do for us embodying what other people will see us what other people will see as an experience that we are living through our embodiment, right? And yes, in the past I have a video talking about us valuing the journey to embodiment, but right now I'm focusing more on us paying value and appreciating and giving ourselves compassion for actually engaging in subtle, small changes. You don't have to feel pressured by time. You don't have to feel pressured by external perspective of you, okay? Your subtle, small changes don't even, what's so nice about focusing on our subtle, small changes that we make to achieve whatever it is we want to move into, be it healthy, existing in a new, healthier state of being, whether it be by our eating, by the chemicals that we're putting into our bodies, right? I'll just mention something simple. I know for women it's a really big thing, where they've been programmed into normalizing putting a whole bunch of a variety of products onto their hair to achieve a certain look or style or texture or whatever it might be. Women are normalized into, packing on a whole bunch of product onto their hair that gets absorbed by the scalp, or not by the scalp, but gets absorbed by the scalp, right? And again, pollutes the body. We don't even consider the amount of chemicals that we put into our bodies in a specific day, from the chemicals in our toothpaste, right? A subtle small change you can make with your toothpaste if you want to move into having a more healthier body and a less, you know, a less chemical filled life. There's subtle small changes the divine acknowledges, and they help amplify also the action of change. Those subtle small changes also help build the energy of change. They also encourage the divine to assist you in building the energy of commitment to self, commitment to the changes you make. And then they'll start sort of projecting and imprinting and seeding more ideas onto other small little changes you can make that will help you move more into a goal or into what you would like to achieve as a healthier way of living and being, right? Our chemicals, women, like I said just now, especially with all the hair product, then it's all the layers and layers of skin product on their faces and their bodies. And then it's all the chemicals and the food and the condiments and the meat and the hormones and everything, okay? And then it's the sugar, and it's a whole lot. Now when you have to think all at once of all the kinds of changes and the shedding and the this and the that you have to engage in to actually achieve what you've envisioned in your mind as a healthier state of being and way of living and way of eating, it's a lot, right? So don't underestimate if maybe you decide today, don't even think about how long you're going to do it. Just think of it as a new embodiment. Think of it as a new way of being. And it's easier to achieve these shifts and moving into these new alignments of what we would like to embody and live in, right? And experience by doing it in a slow and subtle and way of small adjustment, right? So you could maybe start by moving on to a fluoride-free toothpaste. And over time, once you've actually built, you've committed, you've started making a decision that shows the universe, I'm doing something that's committing to myself. I'm doing something that's showing I actually care about my well-being, I care about myself and my body and my health. And we don't even value enough how the small changes, they might seem very small today, but they make a really big difference when, they add up over time, and you get to a point in the future and you're like, oh, well, you know what, I'm glad I just started with something, right? Start with the fluoride, move on to a toothpaste that doesn't have any fluoride in it. Maybe start cutting down. If you're taking 2 teaspoons of sugar into your tea or your coffee in the morning, try and start acclimating and moving and committing to yourself and moving to maybe just having 1 teaspoon of sugar, right? All of this starts building an energy of change, and just by making that adjustment, you've already moved into a space of new beginning. You've already started building a new energy in your life, okay? Maybe pay more mind. Think about how much product you're putting onto your hair, how much product you're putting onto your skin, what kinds of soaps and this and that, all kinds of things that you might be using in excess that, the system has programmed into you as beneficial, when really they're just clogging up your system more and more and creating an internal environment for you to have more issues in your future. Right? Where can you start moving on to, purer soaps that don't have too many chemicals and fragrances and things inside them? What kinds of things are you putting directly onto your skin? What kinds of creams are you using? What chemicals? If you're using creams that are, you know, from the bigger companies, what kinds of chemicals are in there that you're constantly having absorbed into your skin? Are you someone who's extremely, you know, um, uh, in the habit of using a lot of sanitizer? Take a moment to think about how that impacts your body, the alcohol in the sanitizer, how you're overloading your liver and all those things, constantly having your body in, not even realizing that all that you're putting into your body has your body in a constant state of feeling attacked and being attacked by you. Again, that doesn't show or tell your spirit or your soul that you are valuing self, because your body is in a constant state of trying to fight off, trying to find some sort of balance with everything that you're loading into it every single day, because of what we've been programmed by the outside and told is good for us and is right for us, when it's the complete opposite. Where can you decrease the amount of stuff that you're putting onto your hair? Because the way you're absorbing things from your scalp into your body, it's over time, and if it's daily, it's an excess. Your body doesn't, your body, your organs, everything, they don't have a chance to actually catch up with you and cleanse. And all of this clogs you up. It also messes with your ability to connect to the higher realms. They understand this, so they clog us up. It messes with our ability to focus. It messes with our ability to make decisions, especially the fluoride. The fluoride messes with a lot in our bodies, but again, there's a lot of reading you can do on those things, okay? So, where can you make small changes? Where can you become aware and not feel like the changes you want to make and the new states of being that you want to move into are too overwhelming and will require too much of a personal, energetic and mental investment to get into those places and to commit to them? Break it down. Small, subtle adjustments. Every little new beginning that you commit to self or wherever it might be. Maybe you want to move into a better way of, you want to save your money, or you want to move yourself out of credit card debt, or whatever it might be. Don't think about the big adjustments you need to make. Think about the small adjustments you can make. Right? What is motivating you? Most people have become, sleeper cells, sleep vessels, always looking for when they can get back home and, veg out on the couch, and then it's eating, and then it's straight into bed, right? Vegging out in front of a screen in some sort of way. If it's not at work where you're sitting the whole day and vegging out in front of a screen and, focused on things that have absolutely nothing to do with you, but to do with the success of something else and someone else, or giving to something else and someone else. Where's the time? I understand. Where's the time to commit to self? Where's the time to give mind and attention to where you're trying to actually make the changes in your life? Committing to changes it's hard. I understand. I know it is. It's not easy to commit to change. It's not easy to change habits. It's not easy to move out of addictions. It's not easy to move out of old mindsets and perspectives and things that you've learned and gotten stuck in over time. But they can be changed. You can unlearn, and you can do things anew, and you can open yourself up to another perspective. Understand where you have resistance to change. It might be your ego, or fear, or worry, or attachment, or fear of losing something that might also be getting in the way and influencing you in the background. Remember, we're layers, right? It's always more than what it is just on the surface. And we're so distracted, most of the populace is so distracted that even trying to get them to focus and, engage a little bit more energy in self, or in things that might bring a little bit of upset to what, to what people are used to where people believe they have found security and some sort of stability, which might not even be stability, but they've gotten comfortable in the chaos. Trying to move the attention away from that, just the irritation alone with having to, bring your attention and overcome fear of moving away from what you've gotten used to, even if it is chaos. It's enough to make people want to just stay in what it is that they know, right? Because the new requires you to be a little bit uncomfortable in the unknown for some time, until you find your rhythm and your stability again. And big changes that require more of you, those cold turkey changes aren't always the best, because they don't really speak to you moving into a new rhythm. They don't speak to you building the energy. They don't speak to you building the understanding. Doing things just immediately, it's a shock to the system, and because the energy hasn't been built, because a new way hasn't been moved into, because there hasn't been actually a conscious understanding of a change that has to be made, that's going to be made, a process that you take yourself through, an adjustment, a movement into an alignment, the old energy can immediately just grab you and take you right back. And then it just feels like you've created an unnecessary upset in your life, and you haven't made any progress because you feel like you're back to where you started. So recognize and appreciate the small beginnings and the new beginnings that come, throughout your process of making a change. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. Don't feel overwhelmed by the little whispers that you hear from the higher realms to do something different, to change a habit, to maybe go to sleep a little earlier, to not watch an extra episode of something, to write something down, to, decrease this, to do that. The divine acknowledges little changes, and those little changes, they're rewarded. Maybe not by the biggest grandiose things that'll bring the biggest distraction and be something that you can report to the outside world, but the divine will reward you in little ways that, will help encourage you to continue moving forward, help encourage you to commit to yourself, help encourage you to pay attention to the next idea or, encouragement that is given to you to move into the next step of a change. After your toothpaste, you might be encouraged to decrease one of the hair products that you're using. You might be led to read a little bit about the kinds of chemicals that are in the stuff that you use every single day. And then the divine, after you've done that, that's already also part of the process, right? Then the divine will put it on your heart to start thinking about, well, what are the alternatives I could use? What could I leave? What could I start putting to the side? Is this necessary? Is there an alternative that I could use that doesn't have, certain chemicals and additives and this and that and that? Where am I using too many condiments in my food? Where am I packing too much mayo, too much ketchup, too much, where am I drinking too many soda or fizzy drinks, right? Maybe if I'm used to having fizzy drinks with my dinner, I can maybe just have half a glass of the fizzy drink. That's a change I can commit to. And then maybe 3 weeks later, the divine will put it onto your heart to make another small change and a small adjustment and create another new beginning for you. And you will start only having a fizzy drink 3 times a week or 4 times a week. That's already creating a whole new energy. That's already raising your vibration. That's already moving your body into a space and your mind into a space of feeling like you're saying to your body through your action and your awareness, I love you. I actually care that I am doing all these things to you, dear body, dear mind. And I'm committing and I care about you and I recognize you're here and I recognize that it's, what I do to you every single day with all the chemicals and whatever I put inside, you take inside. I recognize right now that it's as good as me taking a bat and knocking myself every single day and not even allowing myself a day or 2 to recover because tomorrow I'm doing it again. So, let me try and commit to a small change. Divine, please support me. Please let my body and my mind, and may you also guide me into committing and making my changes in a way that is right and best for me. Be patient, and over time you'll start seeing you're aligning and moving into a new way and state of being. Your decisions will slowly start changing. The divine will amplify you feeling averse to certain things. They'll help you, make a decision and commit to it. And you should also pat yourself on the back. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. Pat yourself on the back for the little achievements that you make, for the little changes you do, for the commitments, and take it a day at a time. Don't put a timestamp to anything. Commit to making something your new way. Okay? And if you fail, if you slip for a day or 2, commit to doing better the next time and pray about it. Ask for the assistance from the divine to help you, stick to it. And as you start learning how to do this, and learning how to work with the divine in this way, then you'll start getting confident in thinking, if I can work with the divine in this way, how can I work with the divine to help me change a situation that might be a little bit skewed in my life or out of balance? How can I get the divine to help me, shift and move me into my alignments in this way by way of subtle and small adjustments and changes and, helping me move into an energy of new beginnings and an energy of commitment. Maybe I can work together with the divine in this way to help me achieve a goal, help me achieve my financial stability, help me, create a new dynamic and energy within my family and whatever routines it is we have in our home. Where are the other ways that the divine can actually step in and assist me if this area I've been working with the divine and has been working for me? right? When you're faced with challenging testing situations, be aware, what is my habit? What is my normal way of dealing with these things? Where can I make the small adjustments? Where can I make the subtle adjustments into maybe, getting comfortable with the small solution, with the subtle solutions, instead of always moving into the biggest change of solution that I have that requires the most energy, that draws in the most attention, that requires, the most amount of people on the outside to get engaged. How do I, how do I engage in problem solving? What does my, seek for solutions look like? How do I find solutions? How do I engage in problem solving? Now, also there, you can start making small adjustments. Where can I just learn to let things play out? Where do I always feel the need to get engaged? Where can I make a subtle and small adjustment where in this area over here, if my child falls down and scrapes his knees a little bit, instead of jumping to, and bringing in an energy of panic, maybe I can just sit back and see how my child is going to deal with it, him or herself. Where can I let things play out? Where can I allow a message to just be? Where can I take a leap of faith and choose not to have to be heard and engage in an argument today? Where can I make a small change and just be courageous for a little small moment today if someone tries to argue with me? So just let it be about the next person and not worry about what happens on the other side of that person winding themselves out and me just watching. Little subtle small changes that change the behavior and change the energy. Okay? So don't underestimate them. Don't underestimate them. Okay? Baby steps. So I hope that for whoever reads or gets to this video and it's meant to support you and encourage you and let you know that you can make a change. You don't have to be a sleeper vessel. You don't have to feel like things are too much. Just get started, do a little bit, and commit to that little bit for now. And then once it becomes, you move into the next step. I'm gonna end there. And I'll pull a card today from the guidebook, Trust Your Vibes Oracle cards, okay? Excuse me. My energy moving. And let's see what Spirit has to support our conversation or give someone who's watching our video a nudge in a specific direction, okay? Let's see. May I please have one card, Spirit? Thank you. You're the boss. Okay, you're in control. Your changes have absolutely nothing to do with what is going with anyone or whatever is happening on the outside. It's about you. Okay, so keep the changes in your energy, and you don't have to go and also find again the validation to make a change from somebody on the outside. Make your changes, know what's right and what's wrong for you, and take control, take charge of your own life, okay? Let's see what the book has to say. You're the boss, number 48. The book says, When it comes to living a sixth sensory life, you have to make a choice. To trust your vibes, you must stop allowing other people's opinions and fears to override them or cause you to doubt or ignore what you feel. So this is when the divine comes in and gives you the little ideas and guides you to make this decision and that decision. Trust it and make the little change, okay? And be aware, recognize when you're suddenly able to do things and commit to things and see things through that maybe in the past was a little difficult. You were too distracted, you were not focused, you didn't feel you had the support, you had the energy or the doubts coming in from somebody else on the outside that kind of swayed you off of making the change or committing to a change that you're trying to make for yourself. Trusting your vibes is an extremely self-empowered decision. It frees you from seeking approval and invites you to experience the peace of self-approval and acceptance. Be careful not to shop your vibes to seek agreement. Trust the guidance you receive without confirmation from others. We often take our psychic guidance to the one person we know will discount or dismiss it in hopes that if we can just convince this person, we'll validate our guidance. But it won't work. Don't set yourself up for this kind of sabotage. I'm told to stop there. So, yeah, family, I hope this has resonated. I hope it supported you a little bit. And know that you're not alone, okay? And I wish you well with your changes. Don't disappoint yourself. See your commitments through, okay? Stick to your commitments and commit to yourself and show yourself and your body and your energy love, okay? Because no one else on the outside is gonna do it, so it's gotta be you. Okay? Anyway, I'll see you in the next video, family. Bye.